Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse was just a work of art.
Perfection.
From the amazing visuals that you have come to expect from this movie to the amazing score. The music in this movie just adds to the experience of enjoying this masterpiece, along with great voice acting. And you thought that Mario Brothers had Easter eggs or cameos. This thing had so many Spider-Man or Spider-Men, Spider-Women, Spider creatures. This movie just Spider-Man all over you. We had references to comics, to Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, to Tom Holland's Spider-Man, to all Spider-Mans in live action, to Lego Spider-Man. They even kind of brought it into the MCU. And spoilers, if you haven't seen it, I probably spoiled something already before you guys even got to this point, but the way Michael O'Hara's character, or Michael O'Hara, voiced by Oscar Isaac, when he dropped that line about how he was cleaning up the timelines from the first movie in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and he dropped that line about how he was trying to fix the timelines, and he was talking about some, and then he drops that also the one with the silly doctor, or he goes, "Don't get me started about that silly doctor and that Spider-Man," referring to No Way Home, was just masterful. The way they added on there, and I was just like, oh my god, they're kind of, they attached it, which is great. Now you have the Sony Spider-Verse and the MCU kind of united, which is probably what Kevin Feige wants, so he could kind of branch out. We've already heard about a live action Miles Morales movie, which I'm all for it if it's in that same kind of direction that we see in these animated movies. Give me more. Give me more. I think it's just this movie was just brilliantly planned out, brilliantly executed. I will say though that the cliffhanger ending was a bit disappointing. Now, some of you might already have known that it was a cliffhanger. There was going to be 2 parts to this. I didn't. When it ended, I was kind of upset a little bit because I'm like, oh great, I just saw Fast X and I have to wait for a second part. Now I watched this movie and I got to wait for a second part, and it felt anticlimactic because there's like 3 villains in this movie basically, and we get introduced to the first one. I can't remember his name. Is the polka dot man or whatever, or the whole man, whatever. And then obviously Miguel O'Hara is the second one. And then you had his doppelganger basically being the third villain. And that's the cliffhanger we're left on. That was the only drawback that I had, which is it just left me wanting more, which is what you're supposed to, right? That's what a cliffhanger is supposed to do, is I can't wait. I just hope that they've already filmed it. Everything's already drawn. Everything's already done. They just decided that, hey, this is a really long movie to get, everything across. And I hope it's going to be within the next year, kind of like how Infinity War and Endgame was in a calendar year. We didn't have to wait that long. And it just drove. And maybe that's what they're trying to do, right? Maybe that's what they're trying to hit on that, hey, if this happened for the MCU where it was the Infinity War and they ended it on a cliffhanger, then Endgame came along and it was must-watch TV, and everyone showed up. Maybe that's the case of what they're trying to, have lightning hit twice. But wow, just a fun time. If you're doubting, if you're on the fence about this movie, don't be. Go watch it. You will be just in awe of the whole thing. A fun ride from beginning to end. But with that being said, for me, this movie gets an A rating. It would have been an A+ if they would have concluded it, but because they left me on that cliffhanger and it just gave me a bad taste, I was like, I couldn't give it an A+, though I wanted to. It's really close to an A+, But I gave it an A, which for this types of movie, I just think they hit it out the park. It's not a grand slam, but definitely out of the park. They hit it, a home run, and just hats off to everyone in this movie. But anyways, those are just my thoughts. I would love to hear your thoughts down in the comments. And like always, that's a wrap.